Hey YouTubers, this is Rad Fox, and I got some sad news and some good news. The sad news is that I traded in my GTI Autobahn Performance Pack, and the good news is that I traded it in for a 2016 Golf R, fully loaded. And you know, I'm gonna miss the GTI. It had a lot of pep, especially with those with the APR Stage 1, Stage 2 tunes on it. It was really fun to drive, but it was lacking in the areas where I was, where I really wanted it to be a little better at. And of course, you know, it was a front-wheel drive car, so what do you expect? But you know, it was hard to launch the car, and it was hard to always keep traction. One of the things I didn't like was if I was going into a turn, the traction control system, even with it fully disabled, it would keep me from gunning it, or getting wheel slippage in the front, or tire spin in the front wheels when I was going into a turn, or even until I was pretty far out of a turn, coming out of the turn, and then it would let me get on the gas, or it would actually reapply the gas for me. So I was really getting tired of it not letting me do exactly what I wanted to do. The other thing was that the with the limited slip front differential on the car, a lot of us were believing that there was an extra torque limiter in the car to protect that front differential from damage. And so with the Stage 1, Stage 2 tunes, if you launch the car, and I don't mean that you don't rev up the clutch, or rev up the engine and drop the clutch. I'm saying if you just get the, rev match it just right, with your speed, with your launch, and engage it just right, and get on the gas hard. If the tires were biting really hard, the throttle would cut and the car would kill the boost, and until the car slowed down again, or until you let off the throttle, and then it would start accelerating again. So that was really pissing me off, and so I was really getting tired of it. And a lot of us had talked to APR about it, but APR has said that they didn't know of any kind of torque limiter in the performance pack, and so I just got tired of it. So anyways, now this is the car. My dealer here, my local dealer, I had talked to them about getting an R, and they tried to see if they could locate one that was coming in on the port, or coming into port, and see if they could redirect one. They had one that was coming in at the time because they had sold all theirs, and it was the manual 6-speed black. It didn't have the DAPR system on it, but normally with the GTI and all my other previous cars, I've always gone with the manual transmission. But I kept looking on the forums and looking at everybody else's videos and looking at track times and things like that, and it just really was apparent that the DSG transmission is just so much better for performance anyways. And so I really wanted to get the DSG because it's computerized. Obviously, it can be fully tuned to give you all kinds of different shifting characteristics that obviously you wouldn't be able to program into a manual or most other transmissions. But this is a really special transmission, and I know I really considered the manual, but again, coming from the GTI Performance Pack and knowing the issues I had with that, it just seemed like this is the only way really to go. One of the things that was, that I had to consider was that with the GTI, or if you go manual, and you want to, boost the thing up, go Stage 1, Stage 2, just most likely, depending on your driving style, you're going to end up burning your clutch out, and you're going to end up having to upgrade to a better clutch. And so a better clutch for these cars, right? Like the Audi RS clutch that I used on the GTI, I had to drop $1,000 to get that clutch. And then of course I did the work myself. But that's something you have to consider. You're going to buy a new car, and then you know what, just because it's $1,200 cheaper or something like that for the manual versus the DSG, you're still going to have to upgrade your clutch most likely. You know, depending on your driving style. I mean, if you baby it and you never downshift, you know, it'll probably last a while. It may last a long time. But if you really are going to get on the gas and you're really going to push the performance of the car, then I just can't see, you know, you know you're going to have to get a clutch. And so, you know, the higher foot-pound clutches, you know, can get up to, what, $1,400, $1,500, $1,600. So that's the price of the DSG. Now, I know the DSG can possibly slip, and, you know, I've heard that, you know, supposedly you can increase the clamping force in the programming of the DSG. So we'll have to see. You know, the APR tune supposedly, you know, looking at the horsepower torque curves, looks like, you know, they're purposely limiting the amount of torque when you're first, you know, revving up the engine, accelerating, so that they can, you know, if they limit the torque down early, instead of letting it peak out, they can increase the horsepower up at the higher RPMs, which will keep the car pulling strong, you know, all the way up to red line. So, you know, just by doing that, they're pretty much protecting and helping you protect your both transmissions. So we'll see how that goes. Who knows? Hopefully I won't regret having gone with an automatic transmission. So what else is there to talk about with the GTI versus the R? The GTI was awesome though. Obviously it had I had the you know, fully loaded. It was 32.5 with all the options on it. The only thing I really sort of might miss is the moonroof. The R's don't come with one. You know, several people on the forums have said that it's because the Golf R is built in Germany, and it's built on the same factory assembly line that the e-Golf is built on, and so they supposedly don't have the factory set up to do the moonroofs. However, when I bought this car at the dealership that I went to, the salesman said that he had taken the training for the car, Volkswagen training, and Volkswagen, according to him, told them in the training that they can't put the moonroof in because of structural rigidity. Supposedly, the moonroof will crack or break with the performance of, or fail or start to leak with the performance that this car is capable of. So I don't know. We'll have to see. I do miss the moonroof, and it looked way cool with it open, obviously. Otherwise, though, I mean, I've got pretty much all the options. So, I mean, the interior is gorgeous. The seats are still just as comfortable. That was one thing that was amazing about the GTI. I totally fell in love with that car, you know, when I was driving it around. I just think that's why I went for the R. It's just a perfect car. I love the hatchback. I love the torque that these engines put out when they're staged. It's just like driving a diesel. I mean, it's just like you just barely get on the gas and the car just starts taking off like ridiculous. So I don't really think I really lost anything except the moonroof. The headlights, again, I had the lighting package on the GTI, and so these look like the same headlights. It's still got the LED halo type Delios, whatever the heck you call them, and it's got the turn lights in there. So I didn't lose out anything there. One of the other things, again, that was intriguing to me was the DCC, the dynamic chassis control. So this car has the dynamic chassis control, and I did play around with it a little bit, but I'll have to do some kind of analysis and probably do a video on that later. But for right now, I love it. Okay, it's not, I haven't, you know, I've been in race mode and in comfort mode, and I don't know, it just seems like it's awesome. I don't want to really comment too much about it until I can really do some tests of whatnot. Yeah, you can see obviously that I've got the DAPR, right? That's the radar there in the front grille there. And, you know, a lot of people were saying, oh, that's not worth it. The dealer tried to tell me that, you know, that was silly, you didn't need it. because of course they wanted me to buy their car that they had coming in. But I tell you what, I had to drive 6 hours to go pick this car up in a different city, different state. And then I drove about a 7.5 hour route back home. And part of it was in rush hour traffic in Phoenix and on the interstate going north out of Phoenix. And I tell you what, this cruise control is badass. Oh my gosh. This is just sick. You know, I hadn't even read the manual yet, and I figured out how to use it. You know, you set the distance that you want to follow behind another car. You tell it how far, you know, when you have the right distance that you like, and you can set the speed that you want the car to go, as long as it, you know, for when there's no other cars in front of you. But when the car picks up another car changing into your lanes, or the car in front of you slows down, obviously your car, and this car, will adjust its speed and match the speed and follow at the right distance. And I mean, I had cars, you know, cutting me off and all kinds of stuff, and this car just, it did everything itself. Very, very flawless, very awesome. And I mean, when I was out on the, you know, longer stretches of the highway, when I had a lot of space between me and other cars, when cars would change into my lane, the system on here, it would detect it. I mean, the cars were way out, and you know, it would flash up and say, hey, I picked up, it's detecting a car in front of me. And then that gave me enough time to change lanes or do whatever I was going to do before it would adjust the speed of the car to match. And so I'm telling you, it was really cool. Super impressed with this. The car actually almost completely stopped. There was some stop and go traffic on the interstate, and I was just had my foot ready to hit the brakes, and the cars in front of me slammed on the brakes, and my car just, you know, hit. I guess it hit the brakes or used the engine brake, and I couldn't see if the taillights were actually activated, but the car almost completely stopped. It didn't need to though, because the cars on the interstate didn't completely stop. But man, it was pretty cool. What other deal was there? What other interesting things to say about that? You know, it has the little indicator lights built into the mirrors that will show you, obviously, if there's cars in your blind spots. They light up, so that's helpful. Sometimes, you know, what I usually do is I usually turn my head completely to the side to look anyways, but you know, with these indicator lights, it's just added assurance that you're not actually gonna, you know, change lanes into somebody if you're driving aggressive, I guess. Oh, another thing I did, which was really cool, this has the lane assist. So if you look up here, right, it's part of the DAPR package. Up in the top of the windshield, there's a camera system up there. There's also a rain sensor, but that camera watches the lanes of the road. And so I played with it a little bit. What I did was, as I was cruising on the highway, I, you know, barely tilted the steering wheel a little bit, turned the steering wheel, and had the car drifting over towards the, you know, dotted line or the solid line on the interstate. And I'd let go of the steering wheel, and the car would start to, you know, slowly drift over to the lane, and when it would get near it, the car would just veer back. And very subtle, because I was very slowly drifting over, and it would just come right back. And I thought, oh, that's really interesting. So then I went and let the car drift a little bit harder. I turned the steering wheel a little bit sharper and let it sort of, you know, hit a little harder into the lane. And as it came over to the line, the computer system flashed, the infotainment, or not the infotainment, but the MFD flashed up and said something like driver assist taking control of vehicle, and the car just pulled right over instantly and just centered right back in the lane, and the lights went back off, and it gave the control back to me. And I thought, wow, that's pretty damn cool. You know, I guess if you're hot rodding around, you might want to disable that. You definitely want to disable it if you're on a road course on a track. But for, you know, highway driving and whatnot, and especially if your spouse is going to drive your car and you don't trust them, they don't have the same driving skills the same driving skills as you, I think this is a really added benefit. You know, you can feel a little bit safer about them driving your car. The car will completely brake itself, you know, stop if somebody hits the brakes in front of you. It has obviously the sensors all around, so it gives radar warnings of when you're backing in or parking in spaces or pulling up next to cars. It'll give you the warning beeps, the radar beeps, which are pretty cool. What else is there to talk about? What was interesting too is that with this car, so my dealer had quoted me MSRP for this car, and I'd give him a couple weeks. I gave him like 4 weeks to see if they could come up with one, and I did a search on the internet, and I saw that this other dealer was getting one of these. I found that there was only four of these limestone gray cars with all the options in the US, and of course the closest one was about 6.5 hours away. So I gave my dealer some time to see if they could find me one. I put a deposit down, and then I gave them about 4 weeks, and nothing happened. And they kept saying, "Yeah, it's coming. We're going to get you one." But I could look and see what was ordered from the States or what was on its, and they didn't have one coming. So eventually, I contacted the other dealer out of state, and then started working with them over the phone. I already had my bank had already said that they would most likely finance me. And so when you go to buy a new car, you really should already have your financing lined up, because otherwise they're going to jerk you over at the dealership and try to set you up on some loan with some ridiculous high interest rate, because they're probably getting a kickback from the financing. So I worked the deal out, went and talked to my bank, and they said, "Yeah, sure, we'll finance you." And I had a dealer buyer invoice or whatnot from my dealer, buyer's order or whatever they call it, where they show the taxes and all that stuff for the car. And I already had one of those mocked up from my dealer, so I took that to my credit union, and then my credit union said, "Yeah, okay, we'll approve you for this amount." Well, when I called the new dealer, I told him flat out, I explained everything to him and said, "Hey, the other dealer is trying to get me one. They tried to get the one you had, but you wouldn't give it to them. I want to do this deal, and if your pricing and everything comes out right, I'll buy it." And so the new dealer wrote me up. I said, "Write me up a buyer's agreement, so I can see what you're going to try to charge me." Well, they sent me the buyer's agreement, and man, it had like $6,000 extra crap on it. The price was $6,000 higher. One of the things was that they were charging me, I don't know, I think it might have been like $300 for window tinting. You can see this car's tinted. So the dealer tinted the car. They also tried to charge me, I think, $300 or $400 for the clear bra material they put on the doors and on the handles. And I thought, yeah, whatever, that's ridiculous. Then they did they put some kind of flasher in the back tail light to make it flash when you hit the brakes. And then they supposedly etched the glass for theft protection, but I don't see any etching on here, so that was sort of BS. No, obviously there's no etch protection on here. And then they also were trying to charge me like $1,000 for some security system BS. So it all added up. Plus they were overcharging me on tax. They were charging me the other state's tax, which was higher than mine. So I said, look, hey, I've already got a buyer's agreement from my other dealer, and I already got my financing. You need to do something about your price. So I sent them my buyer's agreement from another dealer, and then they basically they matched it. They still had like, it ended up being $300 more, because they had to pay some out-of-state fees for registration to allow the car to go to a different state and be registered. And what else? It was like about $300 more. So whatever. But they end up tinting it, and I still got this other stuff. So my first plans with this car, anyways, were to tint it and to either wrap it or clear bra it. So I had thought about the wrapping a lot, and I was really almost going to do that. But then once I saw the car and saw how stealth mode I am, this color really looks I would say luxurious, like expensive. And so I think that I want to keep the color. I don't want to try to hide it or anything like that or change it. On the GTI, the reason I put the stripes on it is because the car was white. It was just boring to me. I had to do something else to it. But this is really clean. It looks really good. I like the color. With this car here, I'm going to clear bra it. So I've already got all that stuff set up. We're going to start. Hopefully I can get something going next week on that. But yeah, I will definitely clear bra this whole front end. And I got to see if I can clear bra the black piano grill inserts. Those are really nice. I don't want those getting messed up. The GTI, I didn't clear bra it right away, and it got pitted to shit. I mean, it was just ridiculous. The whole front looks so terrible from all the rocks and everything. Plus the windshield got pitted, and man, I must have got like 10 rocks into my windshield that caused some chips. I think that's just the aerodynamic design and whatnot of this car, but likes to pick up rocks in the windshield. But I can't do nothing about that, I don't think. But we'll clear bra all this, and I'm going to clear bra the door jambs, the footwells and the door jambs, all down in here. Because all this here, you know, people scuff it when they get in and out on both sides. So I'm going to get that fixed up. And then, you know, the rear doors too. And I'll clear bra the back. So I've got a lot of other plans, obviously. Eventually this will be stage 3. And I'm not sure, you know, might be APR, I don't know. Might be, integrated engineering, I don't know. We'll see. But for now, I'm just going to flash it stage 1, do the ECU, TCU tune on it. But first I got to break it in. I'm not comfortable yet with flashing it yet until I know the car's solid. And I'm not going to have to take it in for some warranty work on the drivetrain. So my first impressions, though, I'll tell you what, when I test drove this car, the DSG, I couldn't believe it. It's absolutely freaking amazing. I think that when it's in sport mode, that it does exactly what I want it to do. Very impressive. You know, I had read online, people said, oh, it doesn't shift right, or it always upshifts and all kinds of garbage. Yeah, if you stay in the gear for longer than, if you're planning on hanging out in a gear forever, yeah, it'll eventually upshift, and you'd have to shift it back down even if you're in sport mode. But, if I bump it down because I have a plan that I'm going to be stomping it, it holds it in that gear long enough for me to get ready. It just seems like it's naturally time for what I would expect. What really, again, blew me away, though, was the shifting. You can't even feel it. I mean, if you're driving normal, and you just roll on the gas and roll through your gears, it shifts through the gears so smooth. You don't even feel it. The only reason I know is because I can hear the exhaust note change. It's absolutely ridiculous. I haven't been stomping it or flooring it all the way and forcing it to, max out acceleration, because I'm trying to still break the engine in gradually. But it is, at least, partial throttle, it is flawless. It's amazing. I cannot believe it. So I can see why this car is faster than the DSG is faster than the manual. It's just ridiculous. Amazing. So far I'm happy. I thought I wasn't going to like these wheels. I don't know. This is interesting. I mean, this is different anyways, this pattern here. But in person, I think they look a lot better. I do also like the fact that with this wheel, it actually bows out. These, you can see that these arms, or whatever you would call them, actually are bowed out. It's pretty damn cool. It'd be neat if they actually were even deeper, but I don't know. I think it gives it some character. I might wrap that or something. I don't know, or plasti dip it. But for now, I think it's good enough. Actually, I think it looks pretty cool. What else can I say? Again, like I said, the seats are, I think, a little bit firmer than the GTI's. bolstering might be a little bit, have a little bit more, but it is very comfortable. I mean, most cars, after I drive them, after I'm in them for about 4 hours of continuous driving, you know, my body just starts aching and I want to get the hell out and start walking. But with this car, no problems. It was awesome. And then having to, you know, not having to actually hold the pedal constant, you know, for when I'm dealing with traffic, you know, because of the adaptive cruise control, it's priceless, man. Because I would usually get my foot would cramp up after about 4 hours of driving. You know, accelerating, decelerating, holding the pedal exactly, you know, perfectly still to maintain the speed and whatnot. Because usually I'm hauling ass, but with this adaptive cruise control too, another thing is that it will maintain the cruise control up to 100 miles per hour. So that's pretty damn cool. The stereo, there's something. Okay, so this is the upgraded stereo, right? I mean, this is the new 2016, what is it, 6.5 inch, I think. It's larger. The other one was like 5.5 or something. But obviously the screen is larger, and this has got the CarPlay on it. But you know what? I don't know if it's because the moonroof's not in here or what, but the sound quality of the stereo is better than the 2015. It's louder, it's clearer, the bass is more, I don't know, it's better. I can have the windows down and I can have the stereo up like halfway and it's totally blasting me. I used to have to crank the other stereo up pretty, you know, almost near the max, you know, with the windows down when I was hauling ass. But I don't know, this just sounds awesome. So I'm really happy with that. I mean, it's the Fender system, obviously, but this must have more wattage or something, because it sounds so much better. I mean, the other one, don't get me wrong, the GTI had an awesome stereo too, but this is way better. You know, well, I say awesome. It wasn't awesome. It was good. This is much better than the GTIs, as far as I'm concerned. What else? Well, I think that's it for now. I mean, if you have any questions or anything, let me know. But I'm going to obviously be shooting more videos talking about this car and the things I'm going to do to it. But for right now, I'm just going to enjoy it, try to get some more miles on it, break it in, and then stage 1 it. So I'll be reporting back later. Hope you found this interesting. All right, YouTubers, I'll talk to you later. Bye.